For decades, two cars dominated the family vehicle sales charts, the Honda Accord and the Toyota Camry. But now, as consumer preferences have changed a little bit, two new nameplates have arisen to compete for that title.
Honestly, it's hard to blame most consumers for picking a small crossover over a mid-size sedan. They offer more space, more practicality, optional all-wheel drive, and similar fuel economy benefits to their mid-size sedan counterparts. So, as such, two new titans have risen to the top of the sales heap, the Toyota Rav4 and the Honda CR-V. And we've got both of them today to find out which one is best. Thankfully, Honda's gravitated back towards the rugged side of SUV design with the 2017 CR-V, as the last generation was much too minivan-like to fool anyone into thinking it was a true off-roader. The 2017 CR-V has actually grown over the 2016 model, ringing in at 1.4 inches taller and wider, 1.2 inches longer, and sporting a 1.6 inch longer wheelbase. This makes for more usable space inside, but the CR-V's sheet metal hides its extra girth well, with a more sculpted exterior and handsome detailing cues that emphasize the sport in sport utility vehicle. The top-tier touring trim wears handsome 18-inch alloy wheels, chrome and plastic body cladding, LED headlights and taillights that echo the Civic's new face in the front and stay true to the original CR-V's vertically oriented taillights out back, and optional paint colors like the awesome molten lava metallic on this particular car.
This year's Rav4 keeps roughly the same exterior design as last year, attempting to inject a little bit of attitude into this otherwise tame SUV. Slim, pointed headlights are connected by a narrow opening along the top of the grille, while casings along the fog lights jut down like fangs. This combination seems to be reaching for an aggressive look, but the end result is a front fascia that really just looks like it's squinting. Toyota's always tried to keep some semblance of an angular look to the Rav4. The current edition of the SUV does a nice job of balancing drag resistance and style, making the front portion of the roof line rounded while allowing the back to taper off into a slight rear overhang. Speaking of which, the rear window is set much lower on the Rav4 than it is on the CR-V, which I think gives the Toyota an advantage when it comes to monitoring traffic behind you.
Seeing as the 2017 CR-V is completely redesigned, it also gets an overhauled interior, including these awesome and very supportive leather seats, a new center console design which finally incorporates a volume knob, and some handsome accents throughout, like this piano black trim on the dashboard and this fake wood trim as well. Rear seat legroom and headroom is generous and accommodates 5 adults easily, though the lack of any side support on the rear seats and adjustable height on the front passenger seat are notable oversights. Overall though, fit and finish is superb, and definitely superior to the Rav4, if not almost all of the other competitors in the segment too.
Inside, the Rav4 is pretty comfortable. It's got this nice soft tex imitation leather material on the seats. As you can see, there's exposed stitching. Nice, it's enjoyable to sit in, but it still trails the CR-V a little bit in terms of overall premium quality, especially on the top tier trim package. Rav4 feels almost as spacious as the CR-V, if not slightly tighter in terms of rear legroom and headroom, although it does offer an easily adjustable rear seat, as well as a wide supportive bench that can fit up to 3 adults. The Toyota's handsome brown interior makes it a little more interesting to look at, but there are some rattles and shakes on the road that really shouldn't be apparent on a car with less than 10,000 miles.
The redesigned CR-V also gets Honda's new infotainment system, but if I'm honest, it doesn't really feel that new. The processor's definitely on the slow side, and the user interface looks like it was designed a few years ago. Thankfully though, they've given us a volume knob finally, so kudos on that, Honda. It offers optional Garmin-powered navigation, a suite of connected apps, Bluetooth audio and phone connectivity, and even the option for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto smartphone projection technology through a hardwired connection. So you may want to default to one of those services over the Honda system, though they are plagued by the same processor woes.
Unlike the freshly renovated CR-V, the RAV4 is 4 years removed from its last redesign, so it's no surprise the tech feels well worn and the graphics look a little dusty here. The 7-inch touchscreen is powered by Toyota's InTune app suite, which features things like navigation, satellite radio, traffic and weather updates, Bluetooth capabilities, and a camera system that offers front, back, side, and 360-degree bird's-eye views. Toyota continues to resist the allure of licensing Apple's CarPlay or Google's Android Auto connectivity packages. This leaves customers stuck with the less intuitive InTune system.
The last generation Honda CR-V was one of the most practical crossovers you could buy, and somehow Honda's stepped up their game for 2017. They've added more cargo space and more practicality features, including a foot-activated liftgate, like many other models are starting to showcase as well. The 2017 CR-V boasts a generous 39.2 cubic feet of space with the rear seats in use, and a whopping 75.8 cubic feet with the rear seats folded down, an increase of 2 and 5 cubic feet over the last generation, respectively. The rear seats fold completely flat, also in contrast to the 2016 model, and are easily laid down with 2 handles in the rear cargo hold, something the RAV4 notably lacks.
With 38.4 cubic feet in the trunk and a maximum cargo offering of 73.4 cubic feet behind the front row, the RAV4 is within striking distance of the CR-V. Also, with a lower load floor and a more rectangular rear opening to go along with the foot-activated rear liftgate, the RAV4 is actually easier to load up than its Honda counterpart. However, as Brian noted, you have to go around to the side doors in order to access the latches on the rear seats in order to fold them flat. It's a mild inconvenience, but one that once again is telling of the RAV4's age.
In terms of driving experience, the new CR-V drives, well, a lot like the old CR-V. And that's not necessarily a bad thing for most consumers, considering it was one of the best-selling vehicles in America. The base engine in the new CR-V is a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, but the one you'll want is a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, which can also be found in the Civic. It makes about 190 horsepower and about 179 pound-feet of torque, which doesn't sound like too much, but frankly is quite enough for a vehicle of this relative lightness. It's about 3,500 pounds. It's available in front or all-wheel drive, and the only transmission is a continuously variable transmission. And if I'm honest, Honda's one of the better manufacturers at making CVTs not suck. There's an optional sport mode on the transmission just by popping the shifter down 1 notch, and it actually makes the whole thing more responsive and a little bit better to drive if I'm honest, especially in city situations. In terms of the handling though, well, let's just say this thing's not going to get anybody too excited. The steering has a decent weight to it, and the new chassis handles the car's weight pretty well, but for the most part it's still a pretty ho-hum driving experience. If you're really looking for fun in this segment, the Mazda CX-5 is a great option. Where the CR-V does shine is in terms of ride quality. It's quiet as a monastery in here. And while the ride isn't completely pillowy soft, it still does have a little bit of communication when you're going over some bumpier roads. For the most part, it absorbs pretty much any pothole with relative ease. The new CR-V boasts pretty solid fuel economy as well. According to the EPA, with all-wheel drive and the turbocharged engine equipped, you'll get about 29 miles per gallon combined. I actually saw about 29.5 on my test loop, so if you have more highway driving than city driving, you can expect to reach maybe even 30 miles per gallon.
The RAV4, on the other hand, offers a much less exciting driving experience. The 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine that makes 176 horsepower, it's a little more on par with other members of this segment, but that isn't saying much. Power-wise, it definitely feels a little lackluster. Steering's light, and there's definitely some noticeable body roll during cornering. However, the ride's comfortable, and there's certainly enough acceleration to, pass on the highway or satisfy your basic needs. With a standard 6-speed automatic transmission, The EPA says the front-wheel drive RAV4 will get 23 miles per gallon during city driving, 30 miles per gallon on the highway, and a combined average of 26 miles per gallon. The RAV4 I tested came with all-wheel drive and ended up fairly close to its projected combined average of 24 miles per gallon.
The CR-V sports Honda's sensing suite of safety technology, but there's a catch. It's only available on the EX trim and up, but not on the base LX trim, an option that a large portion of CR-V buyers are likely to select to get the best possible price on a new Honda. Still, with the system equipped, it works wonderfully for the most part, though there's a slightly oversensitive collision warning system. Honda also adds automatic emergency braking, road departure mitigation, adaptive cruise control with low-speed follow, and lane keep assist. Gone too is the annoying lane watch system and replaced with conventional blind spot monitoring. All of this helps to score a 5-star rating from the NHTSA and the IIHS's vaunted Top Safety Pick Plus award for 2017, making the CR-V one of the safest models in its class.
Safety is certainly a strong suit for the RAV4. Toyota has made a bold commitment to include semi-autonomous safety features such as automatic braking and lane monitoring technology in all of its new vehicles. As such, the RAV4 gets a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assistance, automatic high beams, and dynamic radar cruise control. Not bad for a vehicle that starts at less than $25,000. The RAV4 also earned a Top Safety Pick Plus from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety and a 5-star overall safety rating from the NHTSA. This makes the RAV4 one of the safest vehicles you can get in its segment.
The 2017 RAV4 still brings a lot to the small family crossover segment, including great standard safety features, comfortable interior, great accessible cargo room, and if you don't want all these bells and whistles, you can get it for a great monthly price.
But in terms of refinement, style, build quality, and driving dynamics, the CR-V has an edge, if not only because it's a little bit newer.
So in this comparison, I guess we have to give it to the Honda CR-V, which just might be the perfect compact crossover.
Frankly though, if you're going with either one of these, you really can't do much wrong.
Well, those are our thoughts. I'm Kyle Campbell.
And I'm Brian Leon.
And we'll catch you next time.